Hi everyone and welcome to another card tutorial. Today I am doing build a scene slimline card design using the slide in slimline die set and the adorable adventures stamp set. And I'm also gonna both decorate the outside and the inside on this card, so there's a lot we are going to cover, so let's jump right into it. So the first thing I did was color up all of the images. I will show you a little clip here. I have gone with a neutral design, and if you want to see more of the coloring, there is a real-time coloring video in the description down below. After I had colored the images, I needed to stamp a little sentiment on one of them. I'm gonna stamp happy birthday on top of the little sign that I had colored, and I'm gonna do that with some Versamark and then heat emboss it in white. And I put each of the sentiment on each side of the block, so I kind of just turn it around. When I only have one teeny tiny block, so I thought that would be great. The white embossing powder I'm using is the Hero Arts white embossing, and there you go. For the outside, I'm going to do some ink smooching. I'm gonna use some Ranger watercolor cardstock, and I'm using the silicone mat from the Holtz glass mat. I never actually added it to the glass mat. I just have it on the little plastic sheet it came with. Then I'm using some weathered wood and some pumice stone. I'm spraying a little bit with the distress sprayer, and then I'm gonna just smooch the card right down. And what I did a kind of a stripe at the top with the weathered wood and at the bottom with the pumice stone, so that I get kind of a sky and a land. And I'm after to kind of leaving some of that white of the watercolor cardstock, and just gonna have like slightly colored background. I'm gonna do two of these because I have one for the kind of tag part of the sliding die, and I also have one for the kind of slide in part. Well, both of the parts. And I'm going to do a second one, and the way I do this for both of them is that I first do this stripe, just kind of push the ink pad on top of the silicone mat. I then just kind of push it down in the middle, the cardstock. The cardstock is cut to 3.5 by 8.5, and I'm going to cut it down afterwards to the proper sizes. I heat set everything in between. And when I do this, and then I just pick up some of those ink splotches, like I want to have the droplets, I want to have the texture. That is why I work this way. Then I'm going to use some Speckled egg. This is a new to me ink pad. I really love the color. I'm just going to do it at the top of the cardstock. And I actually end up having quite a lot of the color on top of one of them and a little bit less on the other one, but I kind of don't mind. They don't need to be perfectly the same. Then I'm going to do one of the edges. I already kind of know how I want to put all of the different designs because I had this idea for weeks in my head. So I knew that I wanted to make one of the sides more like greenery. So here I use iced spruce and shabby shutters to kind of just add some kind of greenery texture color. So it's more of a hint than actually doing a design. So it's like a very light watercolor, but just smooching. I'm having so much fun doing these kind of things. This is one of my favorite techniques, especially this having a little bit of cardstock showing, and just making it very, very just textured. Ooh, I love this. I love this. And I continue to do it. And on one of the corners, I actually also add a little pumice stone just to kind of on the other opposite corner from the greenery. And that is because I'm going to have like mountain range on that side. So yeah, that is how they ended up looking. I'm due a a couple of small pieces of the leftover cardstock because I'm gonna need a couple of details. So I used some Shabby shutters, and then I kind of darkened that with a little bit of ice, spruced ice. I also go in, here is the ice spruce and the pumice stone to give it kind of just different colors at the top and the bottom. On the one that is Shabby shutter and ice spruce, I also go in and do some blending just on the top of it because I wanted a darker color and I didn't want to lose the texture. So I just do some blending and that's done. And on top of the other one, I'm just going in and really doing one of those like big water splashes with some Shabby shutters, and this might remove some of the texture, but I kind of didn't mind. I just wanted to have more color, so I had those two. So I'm gonna cut this down. The first piece I cut down to 3 1/4 by 8 1/4. So this is going to be kind of the bottom layer, and this is where I cut out kind of the little where you slide things in. So there's a little die here. I'm gonna have it right in the middle, so I measure out at 4 1/8 from on both sides, and there's just one teeny tiny little line just to make it easy to line up this kind of cutout thing. This only cuts the sides and not the top of the bottom, which means that you will get this little slide in portion where you can slide in your tag. There's also one of these little rings that you can put on top of that slider part, and I'm going to do that with the pumice stone one, and that is where I'm going to put a little sign. This little sign is going to go in the middle. So I then cut out the tag, and I chose to do it at the top of this little piece so that it so I get more of the sky than of the mountain range, and that is the little tag that comes in again with that slide in die. It gives you a little bit of a stitched little area. And yeah, so there you have that. And now I'm just going to place down, like I'm just going to experiment here, place down everything, like how do I want this to look like? And I knew I wanted to have like little shrubs and trees on the left side where I had put that green color. I wanted to have the little tent, the flask, and the blonde little girl. And then on the other side, I wanted to have all of the little mountains that came in this stamp set. And then I'm going to have the blonde boy, and I also going to have a little stone and the magnifier glass, just so that it looks kind of cute. Then I'm going to cut out that little tag so that I have a tag holder for the tag. For the card base, I'm using some milk chocolate cardstock, and I'm going to cut that down to 7 by 8.5. And when you score that at 3.5, that will give you the card base. And as the card letter size is 8.5, I just cut it off so I have a 7-inch piece of that. I turn it around. This one is a little bit too short, but if you just turn your card around and you do another line from the top, you get a score for the full length of this. And yeah, that is the card base. So now I can put that part together, but first I think I'm going to do the inside. So this is some Nina Solar White. I cut it down to 3 1/4 by 8 1/4. This is going to be the piece on the inside. I wish I had made the watercolor cardstock on the inside too. However, because I had a whole bunch of stamping on this, and on top of that, I kind of envisioned this being the part you write on. I didn't want to have the texture from the watercolor, so I just took the Nina and then I did a little bit of a different thing on the inside. And you can actually do this on the outside just as well. It's like doing 2 cards in one. I had a lot of fun. So I'm using the I Can't Believe It's Your Birthday stamp. I'm stamping in milk chocolate, and as you see, I'm kind of stamping off these stamps on the side on a little paper cloth, and that is because the pigment is so strong. So when I wipe it on my little ink chamois, the ink chamois just got filled with ink, and then that transfers everywhere. So I kind of just stamp it off on that side piece, and then I wash it off with my stamp chamois. Here I used some a post-it note to mask out the little tent that I stamped there. I wished I had masked a little bit more, like masked a little bush in front of the tent also, just like I had it on the front side. But you know, hindsight. So that's kind of how that side looks, and then I'm gonna use just a couple of those mountains on that side. To kind of adhere to this inside, I'm going to use up all of those things that I've colored up because, hey, why not? Let's go ham. So I glued down the leftover mountains, and then I actually covered up a couple of those little shrubs that I stamped, and then I added a couple of small little trees up in the corner because I realized I hadn't really used the trees. So yeah, gonna add them there, and then I'm gonna add this little dude, and it wasn't until I kind of placed it down that I realized, oops, I put it straight over the eye on I Can't Believe It's Your Birthday. But hey, maybe the stick is the eye, I don't know. And then just continue adding little details here and there because they're so cute. I'm using the My Favorite Thing glue, and that bottle is actually pretty soft. It's really easy to get the ink out. It was really, really awesome. Now that I finally have used it, I'm like, I'm going to use this all the time. I really, really love that. And then I'm going to do the same on the outside. I'm not using any dimensionals at all on this card, which is very unusual for me. But I wanted to be able to actually pull the tag out. So you can also write a message on the tag itself if you wanted to do that. I added some extra glue on her hair thingies just so they don't kind of get stuck in the slider. And then I added this little happy birthday, and then I realized that, oh, I hadn't glued down the middle thing. So I added some glue on that too and put it down. And then I just added some more mountains. This is like just building a scene. I had so much fun creating this card. It's kind of intense, but it was so much fun. So much fun. And just using like quite a lot of glue. That was also, this glue didn't make this character kind of bow with the wetness of the glue. That I also loved with the glue. I'm adding just a slight little glue line on top of that tag. I added down, pick this up really quickly and make sure that it's lined up. And there is the tag done. So now I'm going to put everything down. I'm adding tape around here, making sure that I don't get any tape on the middle part, and that I also have tape that holds down kind of the little circular part or outside the circular part, so that the tag doesn't get stuck in the card when you try to push it in or pull it out, or push it in mostly. Then I line it up so I get that sweet little border around my card. I stick the tag in, and here you see that got stuck a little bit, but was just modified a little bit. Then I'm gonna add my other panel to the inside of the card, and the card is done. That is crazy. That was a big card, a lot of done. It was so much fun to do this, and I hope you had as much fun watching me create it as I had creating it. It was a been in my head for weeks. As I said, I really loved creating this card. And if you like this video, please thumbs it up. It means a lot to me. If you have any questions or comments, just comment down below. And if you want to see more videos like this and isn't subscribed yet, just hit that subscribe button. All of the details and materials used you can find in the description down below. So thank you again for watching, and I will see you later. Bye!